I'm Murray Carter of Carter Cutlery, and today I want to talk about my perfect model neck knife. When you consider the purchase of a knife, what you really want to consider is the cutting power to weight or size ratio. Of course, if you want a lot of cutting power, you could get yourself a sword. It doesn't make much sense because you can't carry it with you. Conversely, you could get a tiny little knife that was very light and very convenient, but it's not going to give you enough cutting power for the daily tasks that you might have. So I want to take you through a bunch of different cutting tests that I regularly subject my knife to. This is the Carter Cutlery Perfect Model Neck Knife. This version happens to be made out of Damascus, but it's nonetheless, it has the Hitachi white steel core forged, and all the metallurgical steps are the same as all my other neck knives. So even the less expensive models should be able to function and cut in the same capacity. Now again, anyone can make a knife that looks super impressive by slicing newspaper or shaving hair because they make the blade really thin. That would be both the secondary edge and the primary edge geometry. Also, conversely, you can make a blade that will punch through the hoods of an old Ford car by making a blade very robust, basically making a pry bar with a sharpened edge on it. But what we're looking for, the key word here is versatility. We want a knife for everyday carry that we can use for fine, delicate cutting tasks, but one is substantial enough that you can count on when the chips are against you. So I'm going to cut through several different things here and follow along with me. It should come as no surprise that one of the things that we want to cut with our knife on a day-to-day basis is paper. So something that I use my neck knife for all the time is for cutting coupons out of the newspaper. And for that, it's really important that you can hold your knife in a way to do the really dexterous task of cutting along very precise lines. So here we have our coupon, we can go and redeem it. So it's really important that you can hold your knife in such a way as that you can do fine, delicate tasks with it. For the sharpest knife, we'll see if we can't cut the complete corner off a phone book. That was no challenge at all. Okay, you've seen this before in our FS1 combat knife testing, and this is a rolled up magazine, 90 pages of paper, rolled over and over and over itself. It looks like a total of 6 times, 3 times on each side, so that's 6 times 90. And you can see we can cut through that pretty easily. I mean, it takes effort, but the knife can do it. That's great. We make a nice mess in the meantime. So another thing you should be able to expect from your everyday carry knife is basic food preparation. It's not going to perform as well as a kitchen knife simply because the blade's a little bit thicker, but we should be able to do the different kind of tasks reasonably well. Okay, so there's a nice chicken breast for you. So easy enough to cut through the meat, but we also want to know, will it cut through the bones? Let's see if we can find some bones here to cut through. Okay, we got the breastbone in there, right down the middle. Okay, through the breastbone, through a couple of ribs. Your everyday carry knife should be able to do that. Now, mind you, trying to split something like the femur bone of a pork is going to be a different story. But for poultry bones, this knife's totally up to the task. Okay, so there's our dinner for tonight. Oh, look at this. This is something I wanted to cut. There's the neck inside here. I wanted to cut through that. Oh yeah, just like butter. Okay, no problem. No animals were harmed in the filming of this video. Okay, I'm just going to clean up my cutting board here real quick, and then we'll cut through a few other things. Okay, so the Perfect Model neck knife can cut up food stuff, no problem. Maybe you're in the woods, you want to be able to do some survival skills. I just want to show you, because I carry this knife every day, even though it's a smaller knife, I have the advantage of using it literally hundreds of times a day, and I can use it intuitively. And even though it's small, I know just how much speed and how much force I need to be cutting bigger branches and so on. So obviously, if the branch is really big, you can do a three-way cut and be cutting it that way. But even more difficult, robust kind of momentum, centrifugal force style cutting you can do once you become familiar with a smaller knife. Okay, here's a hardwood dowel, the same kind of dowel that we used in the testing of the FS1 knife. Yeah, no problem there. You can see it takes a bit of effort, but that can be done as well. Now this is one of the unique things I get to use my personal Perfect Model neck knife for, is in the making of other knives. You might not do this at home if you're not a knife maker, but for such knives as this International Pro Kitchen knife, we silver solder the brass bolster onto the blade, which is done at about 208 degrees Celsius temperature, and so the metal solder actually melts in there, and it needs to be removed. And so I'll actually use my neck knife here to cut out the excess solder. So I'm literally using one blade to cut other metal. And this is a good test for edge geometry, because the twisting and prying motion that's involved will reveal a weak point in either your metallurgy or your grind. So use that to remove silver solder. Here's another test of increasing difficulty. Going to cut through this electrical wire. There's 3 braided strands of copper coil in there, and again, that was no problem. How about if you're camping and you don't have one of those P38 military-style can openers? Well, if you've got your personal Perfect Model neck knife, then very carefully we can open up There we go. You got a can of beans there. If you're real careful, you can even eat off your knife, but not recommended unless you really know what you're doing. But just speaking about eating off your knife, to be honest, one of the things I use my neck knife for all the time is I've got this pesky little gap in between 2 of my teeth that, like, stewed beef always gets stuck in. Maybe some of you guys can relate. And it's like, it kills me. So I got to get in there and pick it out with my knife. I use it for that all the time. Of course, I make sure it's not right after I was cutting uncooked poultry. Now, one of the last things you might want to use your personal Perfect Model neck knife for is shaving. My face was shaved last night, so I'll sharpen this knife up and shave a little hair off my leg. Sharpenability is almost always overlooked in every other manufacturer's knives and in their choice of steel that they use. It's fine if you can duplicate all these cutting tests with another knife, but if it takes you over 30 minutes to sharpen the thing back up again, that's just not very good economy of motion. You want to be able to put a razor sharp, literally a shaving sharp edge back on a knife after cutting things like electrical wire and silver solder and bean cans. You want to be able to put a shaving sharp edge back on that thing within 2 minutes. That's where the selection of Hitachi white steel really pays off with the way we forge it and anneal it and cold forge it and quench it and temper it. It gives you that super performance, but with a really good ease of sharpening. Okay, so we'll see if we can't shave a little here. There we go. Now, admittedly, that's not as difficult as shaving your face. Maybe that's only 1/10 as difficult as getting a nice, comfortable shave on your face. But with just a little bit more work on the stones, and maybe a little bit of newspaper to strop it on, absolutely no problem shaving with the same knife that you can open up a can of beans with. So those are the attributes. So you can see what I mean by the cutting power versus size-weight ratio. You get a wonderful value, a wonderful cutting power in this nice, small, compact package, which I can use every day. And because I wear it every day, you know, I can index it intuitively, instinctively, which also makes it a great asset for self-defense if you want to justify getting a knife for that reason as well. And believe me, when you get a good firm grip on this, whatever direction you use this knife, it's got a good firm grip in the hand. It's not going anywhere. You know, heaven help you if you have to use a blade that way, but if you had to, this would be another great option. This is Murray Carter from Carter Cutlery saying, get yourself a Carter Cutlery neck knife.